stand out in the community. It's important we hear from you to tell us all we need to know about what you do best. Tell us your business uses the latest radio and television production systems, and all shows can be seen on amp2.tv. If you have a question for our guest, call 888-565-1470. Now, let's get ready as our guest hits the airwaves and informs us about what we need to know on Tell Us Your Business.
Hi, this is Yolanda Santana. I am with Allbits Tech, and welcome to Tell Us Your Biz. I've been in the IT industry about 15 years, and my company, Allbits Tech, has been around for about 2 years. We provide IT services to small and medium businesses as well as home users. And we do break fix to installing computers, network services, migrations from Office 365 to Exchange. And you can find us on www.allbitstech.com. And you can also reach us at 754-444-8309. Today, I have a special guest, Joseph Giacoboni. Tell us about yourself.
Well, thank you, Yolanda. I've been in the computer industry since 1980, so even before there was a PC. In 1991, came up with the crazy idea of starting a call center for high-tech companies to outsource their technical support calls to, because the service levels were so poor. Started that company called SSI and built that successfully, and have been in the call center business since 1991. I've started and sold several successful companies, and now I'm starting a new company called Next Gen Contact Solutions, and we're going to be primarily managing and servicing and supporting IoT devices, Internet of Things, which is an unbelievable technology that is going to be so pervasive, probably one of the biggest technologies in the history of man. I think it's going to have more impact on our lives than the Internet did.
Right. So can you tell us, for the average person, what Internet of Things means?
Well, for the years now, for the last 10 years, manufacturers and appliance developers have been putting IoT sensors in every one of their machines. And it gives you the ability, that machine or that appliance or device, electronic device, to be able to communicate to the cloud through your router and then through the cloud. So inevitably what's going to be happening over the next 2 to 5 years is that all these devices are going to be interconnected, and you're going to be able to manage them on a smart device.
Right. So give us an example. What is an IoT device?
Alexa is probably the one that most people know because of Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Alexa is constantly on. She's constantly listening to you, and she's feeding information and recording everything you're doing in the cloud, through the cloud, onto Amazon servers. So everything you do, say, experience in your life, if you have Alexa on, is she's recording you. The same thing with Siri. Siri is another IoT device that she records everything that you say. If you have my Siri, Hello Siri on your iPhone is recording everything that's going on. So that's the disadvantages, is that it is an invasion of privacy, but the advantages is that all of these devices are going to be interconnected through your router, and you're going to be able to pretty much manage your life through a smart device. So you'll be able to manage. Google has the Nest thermostat, right? That's an IoT device. The Ring doorbell that you see advertised on TV, that's an IoT device. And I mean, it goes on and on and on. I mean, Google cameras, they're IoT devices. Anything that you can access from your cell phone or from a smart device has to be an IoT device to communicate.
Right.
Now, the big part is like within industry, they're now utilizing IoT devices in almost everything, right? In manufacturing, in monitoring your travel, monitoring certain street patterns. San Diego and Jacksonville are beta cities right now for smart cities. They're putting IoT sensors in all of their light posts so that they can monitor traffic, they can monitor the road conditions, they can monitor where the nearest parking spot is. so that your car has an IoT device in it. That's how OnStar happens. That's how your car can tell, there's a problem with your car. It's communicating to the cloud, and the cloud is communicating back to it. Okay. So it's already it's already pervasive through our lives, but we're going to be able to utilize it more effectively as time goes on.
Okay. That's pretty scary. So if you wanted to get away from IoT, what would you recommend someone do?
Can't do it.
No?
It's impossible. Because even the airports now are using it, okay, to determine traffic patterns, okay, to determine how bathrooms are being maintained. Delta is now taking IoT devices and putting them on the luggage so that you'll know where your luggage is at all time, whether it's in the hall of the plane or it ended up being in Hong Kong. There's just no way. They're wearables. I mean, you look at Fitbit, that's an IoT device. Yeah. You look at the iPhone watch, that's an IoT device. There's just no way they're going to be putting in tags and closing. As the IoT sensors become more and more cost effective, they'll be putting it in everything and anything that you're doing. I mean, you look at the latest iPhone, right? Has face recognition, right? Well, that's IoT, all right? Again, so what do you think is going to be happening? You're going to be walking down the mall, and they're going to recognize your face, and they're going to tell you. There was a movie, I think, out, The Minority Report.
I love that movie.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's a reality. That's happening now. So, and it's all about Internet of Things. I hate the name, by the way. I think it's the most nondescript name that they could have named it, right? But they'll change it.
It's just a smart device.
Well, just like ASP, they change. They inevitably change that to SaaS, right? And so it will be changed as well.
Okay. So, what made you start this company?
Well, about 4 years ago, a friend of mine exposed me to IoT, and I started doing research, and I realized at that time that how large of an impact this is going to have on society. And being in the call center or contact center business, I realized that as these devices start being purchased and installed, that people aren't very technically adept.
Right.
I mean, you look back with the VCR, people had trouble programming their clock on a VCR. Well, these are high-tech devices, and not only is the implementation sometimes complex, although the industry said is do-it-yourself implementation, which I haven't found that to be true.
No.
But the integration of all the IoT devices in your house is complex. And so 4 years ago when I started researching this, I said, well, there's going to be implementation problems, there's going to be integration problems, and then the great thing about IoT is that with these sensors, you can monitor the health of the product. In other words, is it working properly? So we can sit in a call center and monitor through technology or through human intervention, monitor how well your garage door opener is working. For example, Lyft now is advertising their garage door as an IoT device. So we'll be able to tell you prior to one of your appliances or one of your high-tech devices is going down before it goes down. So that's the great part. So implementation, integration, monitoring the health of the device, but the biggest one to me is security. We were talking about that before the show this morning about security and about what's going on with hacking, right? And these hackers are so proficient, they get around. I mean, they're even getting around blockchain technology, right? Which is amazing to me. But one of the issues is that you got to understand that almost every appliance, every device in your house, even your front door, will be an IoT device. And so if somebody wants to hack into your home and take pictures of you through your Google cameras or unlock your front door, they'll be able to do that. So what we'll be doing is we'll be monitoring your router to ensure that no one is trying to hack into your home.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they do, then we'll shut that router down. We'll contact you and say, somebody tried to hack into your home, go reset your password.
Okay. So, it's very important to have a firewall and have it configured properly to block any kind of intrusive attacks.
But people don't have firewalls in their home.
They definitely don't have. They don't know how to configure it. They don't get the Geek Squad or any companies like All Bits Tech to come out and help them out. They just go with whatever the ISP is installing, which is nothing, right? No firewall.
Well, I mean, how many times are you in somebody's home and you get on their internet and there's no password?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that happens all the time with me. And I ask people, don't you put a password? Don't you lock your internet? Oh, why? Who's going to want to get on my? But people don't realize, as I said, as these devices become more and more pervasive in our life, they're going to be controlling almost everything in our life.
Right.
So it's funny. My daughter just bought. I didn't have an Alexa because I know what it does, right? And I didn't want it to record everything that I'm doing. I think there's a case right now where there was a murder where Alexa was on, and the police are trying to get the tape of the recording from Alexa, and Amazon's not giving it to them. They're resisting. Privacy, right? Again, it's a fine line that we walk. Facebook's finding that out. Zuckerberg's finding that out the hard way, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So it's a fun industry. There's going to be, I mean, the numbers are astronomical. Within the next 2 years, there'll be over 50 billion devices activated in the United States alone. Mm-hmm. And as far as contributing revenue to the economy, they're saying by year 2025, IoT will contribute $11.1 trillion to the economy. That's only 7 years away.
Wow.
6.5 years away. So it's huge. And then the information that is accumulated from this is amazing, right? That's becoming monetized because companies want to know what your behavior is, right? They want to know when what time you typically go home, when you leave, when you go to bed, when you get up in the morning, what products you're using, what are the topics that are interesting to you. So all that data is being resold now to data warehouses, and they're crunching the data and managing what they call big data and doing analytics, right, to tell companies what direction they should be going in. So it's huge.
Yeah, it is. It's all over the place.
The amazing thing to me, Yolanda, is, like I said, I've been researching this for 4 years. I just started this company about 6 months ago. And we're a startup. We're just raising funds right now to build the technology to be able to facilitate the services that we want to facilitate. But if I ask 100 people, what is an IoT device or what is an Internet of Things, 95 of them don't know what it is. Which, as I said, this is the most pervasive technology, in my opinion, in the history of mankind. So it's amazing to me that the general population does not understand what the name of the technology is, number one. Number two, what the technology can do, and number three, what's happening with the information that the technology is accumulating.
Yeah, it's important. It's important for people to know, and it's important for them to get involved. I mean, this is their privacy, and where is this information going? And what are they doing with this information, right?
Yeah, but there's good too. I mean, because through IoT devices, people's health will be able to be monitored in real time, right? Your blood pressure, your pulse rate, your temperature. Doctors will become more virtual than they are right now. You won't have to go in to see a doctor for them to diagnose what's wrong with you. So, I mean, there's real positives to this, right? I mean, there's positives that, that will be able to, if a car is going too fast and a bridge is iced over, they're putting IoT sensors in bridges now, in cement, so that it monitors the condition of the road. So what it will do is it will slow your car down. If you're going too fast, it'll slow it down. Now, a lot of people say, I don't like that. I don't want something else to have control over my car. Well, you need to be careful, right? There's other people that are involved in the consequences of your driving.
Right.
So that's why Jacksonville, like I said, is putting IoT sensors in every light post in the city right now. And, Google, this driverless car, I don't know if that's IoT as well, because, they have to communicate to the cloud and
definitely,
and then, it tells the car what to do. But the driverless car isn't really the technology that they're trying to develop right now. It's really more how today's cars, people's cars on the road, can be controlled,
Right.
or can be monitored.
Definitely. I definitely want to get to talking about driverless cars, especially with the Google. But I think we have to take a commercial break. Again, this is Tell Us Your Biz, and we're going to go to commercial.
Please welcome a new sponsor to the show. It's AMP2 TV, the first and only internet network that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet television production company, discover AMP2 TV, a full-service production company that can provide all streaming videos in studio or remotely. They offer web page development, and they use all the latest platforms to help make your business selling points more powerful. They can do remotes and live streaming, as well as tape productions. Let AMP2 TV handle all of your television production needs. Choose from a variety of creative TV and radio packages and see why AMP2 TV works with many major companies, including Comcast, Bravo, and Fox 29, as well as individuals and businesses of all types and sizes. To see samples of their work or to find out more, visit their website at amp2.tv. That's AMP2.tv. Or call them at 1-866-224-5422. That's 866-224-5422.
You are listening to Tell Us Your Business, where our invited guests share all the knowledge of their business and how important it is what they do in our community. If you want to be part of the conversation, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and tell us what's on your mind. Now, back to Tell Us Your Business.
Right?
Welcome back to Tell Us Your Biz. I'm Yolanda Santana with All Bits Tech, and my special guest is Joseph Jacoboni
There you go.
with NextGen. And we were
Next
going
Gen Contact Solutions.
Yes, NextGen Contact Solutions, and we were going to talk about a little bit about the driverless from Google, the driverless cars. I read there was an accident where someone died,
Yes.
and they were doing something they shouldn't have been, and they weren't paying attention, and there was an accident. Did you hear about this?
Yes. Well, I mean, there's accidents every day, Yolanda, whether it's driverless or driver. I think driverless is probably safer than drivers because you have a computer doing it rather than an individual that's not paying attention or has had a drink or whatever. Driverless cars are interesting from the standpoint that we have to change our transportation in this country, and to try to create mass transit in most cities is impossible. Mm-hmm. So I think that driverless cars, and there's so many different configurations that they're looking at, right? I think are a good thing. I don't think we're there yet.
No.
And it, Google, again, they're always innovative and on the bleeding edge of all technology. So, and like I said, these are all IoT devices again. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's an IoT communication to a cloud, and then to a server or a computer that's telling the device what to do. So, it'll be here. I don't know if it'll be here as quickly as everybody thinks it will be. I think it's going to be a little bit longer.
It's already here.
Well, it's here, but it's not. I mean, it's not being utilized. I mean, okay, who was it? It wasn't Lyft, it was Uber.
Uber, yeah.
Uber's trying to do it, and they discontinued it, right? Mm-hmm. Because the technology isn't quite ready yet. And I think one of the biggest issues is having human-operated vehicles with machine-operated vehicles.
Yeah.
Because we react and think differently than machines react and think. And so I think that it's either got to be one or the other. I don't know how you can mix.
It's tough. It's a transition, and I don't think we're ready to give it up. We're not ready to give up the control of our cars. We love our cars, right?
Right.
So it's going to be tough.
Yeah, but technology has a way of convincing people to move forward because it makes life easier. It's just like what will happen in the next 2 to 3 years is you'll drive home. Your garage door will automatically open up or recognize your car. Your security system will go off. Your light path will go on. Your thermostat will turn up. okay, whether it's heat or air conditioning. Your stereo will go on. Everything will be automated. You won't have to do anything. Okay, on your way home, you'll start your stove. Okay, your coffee pot or your microwave or whatever. So it's interesting. Nobody thought that these things would be so pervasive in our lives either, right? And there are issues with it, right? With people who are on cell phones more than they're interacting with individuals, which is becoming an issue. But technology is a funny thing. It fares itself out. It always has. And, it usually goes to the extreme, and then people figure out how to manage it more effectively.
Okay, yeah.
How to integrate it into our lives.
So, Joe, tell me how you got started in the industry.
Well, went to work with Raytheon Data Systems in 1980 and worked in the computer industry and became the vice president of sales and marketing for a tape backup company called Archive Corporation, and got tired of working for big companies, and technical support was a real issue at that time. It was hold times were 45 minutes long, and abandonment rates were 50%, 50, 60%. First call resolutions were down in the 20, 30 percentile. And so I took a chance on romance. As an entrepreneur, I went out and said, you know what, I think I'm going to start a call center for high-tech companies to outsource. And everybody told me I was crazy, so then I knew it was the right idea. So I started a company called Software Support Inc., assumed that there was computer telephony integration. There wasn't. Assumed that there was some type of a routing technology. Now they call it integrated voice response technology. There wasn't. So we had to kind of invent and create all that technology. And the company was wildly successful. And after 5 years, Cincinnati Bell came to me and said, we want to buy you. We're going to give you an offer you can't refuse. So that they did, and sold my company to them, and they created Convergys, which is the largest outsourcer in the world now. So it was fun. And I've done it 3 times now. This is my 4th time that I'm starting another contact center. Or at that time, we called it the call center. The reason why we call it contact center now is because it's not just voice, right?
Right.
It's voice, it's IVR, it's chatbots, it's integrated, it's artificial intelligence. There's a lot of different mediums, email, text messaging that we use to manage different solutions.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. There's a lot of companies.
So you want to become an entrepreneur, right? Well, this is your first company?
It's not my first company, but it's my first tech company. And I'm wondering, what would you give as advice for someone who wanted to start a tech company, starting out?
Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. The first thing is you have to have something that's innovative. Unless you're going to pursue a passion. My daughter's a makeup artist. Okay, she became a freelance makeup. She worked for MAC for years, and she became a freelance makeup artist about 2 years ago, and scared the hell out of me because I'm an entrepreneur, but your kids, you wonder. So she had a passion. Okay, so she's competing in a very highly competitive market, which is great. Okay, but if you're going to go into the tech business, I would suggest you have something that's innovative and something that you have to be somewhat of a visionary. That's number 1. Number 2, you got to realize that you're going to wear many different hats. And if you're not willing to put the time in, and when I say time, it's a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day job. All right? And most people aren't willing to do that. Most people won't work as hard for themselves as they would for somebody else. And so they hit an obstacle, they hit a wall, and they quit. All right, oh, this didn't work out. This is a stupid idea. So just know that you're going to hit a lot of walls, and if you can't bust through them, you got to either climb over them or walk around them and figure out, what's the solution for this obstacle, and make sure that you're funded properly. And that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that most entrepreneurs make, is they go into a business and they're underfunded, thinking that they'll start generating revenue and profitability much quicker than they will.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is they run out of money, and they have to close their business. Probably 90% of the businesses that close are because they're underfunded. So make sure you have enough funding to get you to profitability, and then just keep your eyes open, because it changes. And that's you gotta be pliable. You
gotta be flexible, right? You gotta be able to do everything.
It is, and most people aren't. Most people aren't flexible. Most people, they're very myopic in the way they view things. You have tunnel vision, and they have one way of doing it, and they don't look at the whole spectrum. They don't look at the whole horizon. So you have to because you're not going to be right 100%. I can guarantee probably only 50% of the time will your initial plan work.
Right.
And then you got to be able to be flexible and make adjustments. And sometimes you end up being in a totally different business than you thought.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I could see that. You didn't do it by yourself, though. You had support?
With SSI, I started it with one other person. And we built it. I had a marketing person working with me. But SSI is a perfect example, because initially we started the company to sell an annual support package through mass merchandisers like Best Buy. Mm-hmm. And we were supporting the top 200 applications. But what happened is, once we announced that, we got so much publicity that all the publishers and hardware manufacturers started calling me saying, can you really support our technology? We want to outsource calls to you. So that's a perfect example of going in one direction and then being redirected into another.
Okay. Yeah. So
at the
end of the day, you had a lot of help.
Oh, we had 2,000 employees.
Well, thank you for joining us. Tell us your biz. Again, my name is Yolanda Santana with All Bits Tech. And
so, Yolanda, if you want to find my new company, it's nextgencontactsolutions.com, and it's www.nextgencontactsolutions.com. And our phone number is 561-270-0227.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, Yolanda. I appreciate the time.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
This has been Tell Us Your Business, where a special guest comes on every week and tells us what they do. All shows can be seen on amp2.tv, and if you wish to be a guest, call 866-224-5422 and tell us about your business. That's 866-224-5422. This has been an amp2.tv production. The opinions expressed